All right, joining me now, Congressman Claudia Tenney from upstate New York, I believe Utica. Where are you, Claudia? There you are. Did I get that right? It's Utica.
Well, technically, I'm actually up by Oneida Lake, which is where I live now. So for the moment,
I actually know where that is. I know where that is. Anyway.
It's still upstate New York. It's beautiful and dry and cool here.
Yeah, this is the best time of the year. So I want to talk to you about a bunch of things, Claudia, and we appreciate your coming on. But you were in the group that met with President Trump, I guess the day of or the day after the outrageous FBI invasion of Mar-a-Lago. And what was it like? What did he say? How were his spirits? What were his comments? What can you tell us?
Well, it was the day after. We went down to Bedminster and had a nice little dinner, very private dinner with a number of members from the Republican Study Committee led by Jim Banks, who is one of my freshman colleagues. But it was great. He was very energetic, seemed very unfazed by the whole thing, very positive, wanted to get our input. You know how he is. He loves to get all the input and went around the table and asked everybody what they thought about, various things. Really not so much about the raid, other than he thought it was terrible. He mentioned that Melania's closet had been raided. He talked about the fact that they'd been cooperating. So, it's really peculiar because I saw Merrick Garland say today, the Attorney General, there were reports that he didn't have anything to do with this. And then there's a report that he said, oh, well, we had to go in. It was the only choice. But all the evidence looks like the Trump administration and President Trump not only cooperated, they went back and told him to get a better lock for where he was storing the presidential memorabilia. And so I think that they're doing the big CY arse right here, cover your arse, because there's an awful lot of garbage that they're putting out to try to make this look like it wasn't a raid. They're saying, oh, it was executing a search warrant. Why didn't they do a motion to compel? That's something legally you can do before you raid. But I think President Trump was in good spirits. He was positive, wanted to know what everybody thought about his endorsements, where he was going with everything. And of course, I love getting his endorsement. He's always endorsed me, and I've always been a big supporter of his, and he's been a big supporter of mine. So, he was a lot of fun, as always. He's humorous. He told some great stories.
Claudia, we just had earlier in the show, Ace reporter, now I've forgotten his name, John Solomon, John Solomon, old age, senior moment.
Oh, yeah, great guy.
But anyway, he reported what you just said, and what I guess Trump said, that they had totally cooperated with the FBI and the Justice Department people. They put a bigger lock on the storage locker. They gave him better video surveillance, et cetera, et cetera. There was no problem. It was all very cordial. And so I think, look at Claudia, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm too cynical, but we live in the years in which we live. I mean, I think this is a total political power play by the Justice Department. And I think it's basically part and parcel of the Biden Democrats' manic desire to stop Trump from running for president. The January 6th committee, which is a kangaroo court, as you know, is a desire to stop Trump from running for president. And ironically, and I want you to weigh in, please, this action to barge in on Mar-a-Lago with this outrageous invasion, I think will bring him a lot closer and maybe over the line that he will run to prove himself.
I agree with you. I think it's completely political, especially if you look at the facts. I'm sure John Solomon probably told you that what was going on is there was a judge that executed the search warrant who had recused himself from an earlier case, citing that he might be impartial under the impartial prejudice bias standard. And it was a case where President Trump is suing Hillary Clinton for the Russia collusion hoax for racketeering and among other things that they falsely accused him. We all know that that's true. Back when I was my first term, we actually submitted a referral to then FBI Director Christopher Wray, looking into the illegal actions. And by the way, we laid it out in crayon. It was facts plus the statute for James Comey, who lied, Hillary Clinton, who lied and destroyed evidence, Loretta Lynch, Lisa Page, Peter Strzok, Andrew McCabe, who lied repeatedly. And these people admitted it. Where was the raid on their house? Where's the raid on Hunter Biden? This is purely politically motivated. And they're doing everything. What's left? Okay, they've done 2 impeachments. And now they've tried this J6 committee, which, by the way, is a show trial. All of this has been. The impeachments were the J6 committee is a show trial, not in accordance with our rules and our rights. as a constitutional republic and a democracy and a self-governing republic. None of that is taken into account. And what do they do now? They re-up this J6 committee every time they think they need something. Well, the public didn't buy it. Now they've got to do a raid, another sensational fourth impeachment, if you will. And I think that's what they're really doing. Anything they can do to stop President Trump. And I actually think they're going to help him in the end, because I've heard from my constituents, and mostly Trump won my district in a very large number, and people are supportive. They don't like to see things that are unfair. They may not like some of the things about Trump. They might not like what he says or his style. They love his policies, but they don't like to see unfairness, even in this situation. I've seen even Andrew Cuomo, the disgraced governor, stood up for due process.
I know.
Not to mention a lot of people I know who are really never Trumpers stood up and said this is wrong. And I think the time will tell what's going to happen here. But it looks politically motivated. I agree with you 100%.
This is going to backfire in a major way, Claudia Tenney. That's what the irony is. But they get what they deserve, or they deserve what they get. Can I switch gears a little bit? I was just talking with my buddy Steve Moore about your favorite agency, the IRS, and you're calling it a Democratic militia, which, by the way, is not far wrong. You probably saw the job posting on the website. Criminal investigation special agents, legally allowed to carry a firearm. Major duties include carrying a firearm and willing to use deadly force if necessary, be willing and able to participate in arrests, execution of search warrants, and other dangerous assignments, Claudia. I mean, I thought these new agents were going to be a bunch of tax accountants. Wrong. They're like armed to the teeth militants. So it is kind of a Democratic militia. I love that line.
Thank you. I think it is. I think Laura Ingraham had said it. But truthfully, I mean, look, I've done tax law as a tax attorney. Usually they call you up and they say, look, can you just pay this out, or can you take care of this, or we'll reduce the fine. And most people don't have the money to afford an accountant or a lawyer or an expert. It's usually the upper echelons. But now we have these 87,000 new agents added to what we already have. And then they're going to be the size of the U.S. Marine Corps. My son's a captain in the Marine Corps, so I got these numbers down. But think about this. What I do in my office as a member of Congress is we deal with constituent issues. Why not a taxpayer advocate or more of them? We have a backlog with the IRS. The people aren't getting their refunds back. It was because of the pandemic. There's all these things that are going wrong with the IRS, poorly managed, poorly run, and now we're going to turn them into gun-toting enforcers. And it's going to be the people at the lower echelons, or it's going to be the political manipulation and going after people that don't agree with the Democrats, which means we're going to have a Lois Lerner type FBI again. We're going to be targeting our political adversaries, and you're not going to have a chance. And this is exactly what people fear so much about government, and why it's such a beautiful exchange. Why our founders said, we don't want big government. We don't want the bureaucracy. You talked about that with Steve Moore. Massive bureaucracy, which includes pensions, healthcare, all the things that go with that. That's just even more when you see an economy that's besieged by big government. And I gave you this credit before, but I think it can never be said enough. When you work with President Trump, your mission was to take one regulation and eliminate two. On average, during your tenure with President Trump, not only did you eliminate two, you eliminated on average 8. Mm-hmm. And that's what really spurred on our economy and made it really vibrant. And not to mention the tax cuts, the good policy, the focus on reliable, safe energy, all that. But we're not seeing that now. We're seeing the weaponization of the arms of government that the Democrats control. And that is dangerous. And it's not going to be good for the future of our self-governance.
And don't forget, Claudia, in this crazy bill, this nutty bill, that you all get to vote on tomorrow. I'm sure you're thrilled about that. But this bill's got $50 billion for some kind of EPA environmental bank. This is a bank. This is Solyndra to the 100th power. This is a massive slush fund to the EPA, which is going to be just as bad as the IRS. And in their own way, they may not be armed to the teeth, but it's just like the FBI attack on Trump. I mean, this is just really, Newt Gingrich is right. This is big government socialism. This is massive planning. This is the D.C. swamp against the American people. I got to get out of here, Claudia. They're all yelling at me. I love having you. Love having you on the show.
Great to be on.
All right, take care.
Mission
Talk soon.
creep leads to centralization, leads to authoritarianism.
There you go. Terrific stuff. The Democratic militia. I love
Thanks.
that. That one's a keeper.